You feel bad for the New York Jets. Why would anyone on God's green earth feel bad for the New York Jets, especially right now, where this is as good as things have been for the Jets in decades?
No, it's not. They're 0-0. They've been 0-0 every year for 40 years. There's nothing good about now. What do you mean as good as it's been? Just because Aaron Rodgers is there? People are talking as if even you right there, as if they've done something. They've done nothing. And everyone's putting these Super Bowl or bust expectations, including themselves.
Yeah, not everybody. They are.
They are.
They like this. They love this. You don't feel bad for them.
The media is creating a problem for them. And the NFL. The NFL shoved Hard Knocks down their throats because everyone knows that we want to see Aaron Rodgers. And then the media, if you pay attention to such things, is 50% Jets fans. So they're shoving it down your throat. Everyone's shoving down the Jets down their throat. And people are going to be so eager to see them fail that if they do fail, even in a normal way, say they lose 6 games, everyone's just going to destroy them.
Listen, newsflash, people have been waiting for the Jets to fail forever. There's a cottage industry of people waiting for the Jets to fail. I don't feel bad for them for one moment. This is the most positivity they've had around their organization. This is the most hype. Yes, the most hype. But normally, over the last decade, they're kind of just forgotten. They're an afterthought. They're a punchline. Right now, you've got Rodgers in there basically putting his arms out and giving one big hug to this team. He's not being standoffish. He's not saying, oh, everyone got to catch up to me. I've got a PhD in this, and I'm not even going to talk to the rookies until they understand the playbook. He's being like the big brother that these guys have always wanted and taking on the expectations for everybody. This is awesome.
This is why I feel bad for Jets fans, because delusional statements like that. Look, come on. Aaron Rodgers is the same Aaron Rodgers he's always been, just because he's in a Jets uniform now. That when you say things like that, you're raising the bar of what they need to do to succeed so high. What were they, 7 wins last year? They need to now. First of all, they're expected to be a 9 or 10 win team. But if they win anything less than 12 and don't get to the AFC title game, those kind of statements are going to come back, and everyone who thinks it's kumbaya right now is going to boomerang and just destroy them in 6 months.
Well, I mean, destroy them. I don't think they're going to fall apart as a team. Here's Alan Lazard, okay? So this was, do we have this? This was just a quote he gave to Albert Breer. It's in the MMQB today. Here's Lazard on Rodgers, quote, he's opening his arms, putting his hand out, trying to help guys, trying to teach. That's not to say he was hard to play with in Green Bay. He was a little more like, you have to pick it up. He's a little slower here, realizing there's a lot of new players. He's taking his time. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing how much he cares for those guys and how much he really just wants to put the icing on the cake as far as his career. This is great. I don't feel bad for any of it, for anyone with the Jets. This is perfect. Aaron Rodgers, chip on his shoulder, expectations sky high. They're leaning into it. There's stakes finally for the Jets. Yeah. And listen, will I be there laughing if it crashes and burns? Totally. But at least they have a shot, which is not what Jets teams have been able to say over the last 10 years.
Okay, this is the classic build them up so we can tear them down. Everyone's building them up.
They're building themselves up.
No, come on. You don't think that people have been dying for, like, a lot of people have been dying for the Jets to be relevant, even more relevant, and now they're just going way too ballistic on this. This is ridiculous overkill. They have a new quarterback and a young team. Yes, I expect them to make the playoffs, but this Super Bowl or bust mentality is just, it's totally misplaced, and it's going to end up, Aaron Rodgers now says he's going to be there 2 or 3 years. Well, let it build. Remember when Tom Brady got to Tampa Bay? It took a long time for them to figure out what they were doing there.
A month. It's a long time.
Remember
it took a month.
They were 3-3 or something. He held up the wrong down sign against Chicago, and everyone's like, oh, it's over. If the Jets start off slow, it's going to be bad.
Okay, but that's not something they might be able to dig themselves out of. And the thing is,
but people are not going to be patient with this Jets team.
Okay, but can't have it both ways here. You're going to say with Brady, it took a while. They won a Super Bowl in the first year. That's what this is going to be judged on, and they're fine with it. So, the ebbs and flows of the season, you're going to have highs and lows. That's every year for every team. But they microwaved a championship. The Rams did too. Yeah. Why wouldn't the Jets think they could do the same thing?
The one thing about the difference with Tampa Bay and the Jets is the Jets are getting 200 more times more hype than that Tom Brady. I mean, I turn on my TV and it's Jets. You know, everybody's reporting to camp this week, and people are already reporting to camp, and still my TV is loaded with just that ugly green Jets.
You want to know why?
It's Aaron
ugly
Rodgers.
green. It's the same Philadelphia green, isn't it? It's like similar shades of green. Anyway,
I don't understand the Philly green either. But anyway, go ahead.
Here's the thing, right? It's like if it'd be the reason why is not just because Rodgers and because of what a lightning rod he has become later in his career and just what a big personality people are interested in how this is going to end here for Aaron Rodgers, the end of his career. But the other part is we're so used to the platitudes. We're so used to, well, one game at a time, and, you know, we're just going out there. We're trying to be better today than we were yesterday. None of that is interesting to people. What's interesting is when a future Hall of Famer shows up to a woebegone franchise and says your Lombardi trophy is getting lonely. That's interesting. That's cool. They're doing this and building this all up. So to say that would ever feel bad for them, absolutely not. Now, will all this hype eventually turn on them? All yet to be seen. We're all going to find out together. But for now, they're leaning in, and that's why they're getting the attention.
So if they don't win the Super Bowl, in fact, the way you're talking right now, I'm starting to think they need to win the Super Bowl. I think if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's going to be bad. I think people are going to kill them, which is stupid because
I said all they have to do is make the playoffs.
Well, yeah, but
I got roasted for that. Like, oh, Maggie, come on.
The world has blown past that take, and you know it.
Oh, well, I mean.
Why don't we hear Louis Riddick? I think he summed it up pretty well.
I don't want him to enjoy nothing. I want him to get to the Super Bowl, and if not, you're going to be miserable because that's what you get. Because you've been saying all off season, Aaron. I agree with Aaron this, Aaron that. No, win the Super Bowl or shut up.
So I don't know. That's Louis Riddick of ESPN, Monday Night Football host, talking, I think, to Mike Greenberg. I don't know if he's talking to Greeny or to the Jets. I think he's talking to the Jets. Like, I don't want to hear it from you. You won 7 games last year.
I mean, it'd be kind of personal if he just said it to Greenberg. I mean, listen, Riddick is a former front office executive, so I'm sure he's a little leery of all the hype and what that can do to a team. But listen, their best player is the one who's embracing it.
Well, can you admit that the rest of the country that's not in the Northeast, New Jersey, New York area is going to hate this team? I saw it when that tweet from Lewis Scott tweeted out. I know it's only a small sample size. It's Twitter. Everyone was like, "Huzzah! Finally, someone is saying, get this team out of my focal point. I do not want to talk or think about the Jets anymore. There's so much fatigue, and Hard Knocks hasn't even started."
I know, and we got
win the Super Bowl or shut up.
So I guess maybe is that a poll question? Are you pulling for the Jets? If you're not a Jets fan, but are you hoping like this Rodgers thing gets the the fairy tale ending?
Sure.
Because I think people are interested. I think people are invested in Rodgers. They are. Maybe not in Green Bay.
Put out that poll, Mike, as Maggie worded it.
I know we're out of Milwaukee. Maybe he's not the most popular person there, but right now. But they are going to retire his number, by the way.
I think Rodgers is popular. People, I do not think like the New York Jets.
Well, let's hear it. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I'm just glad we were like a half a tick away from a Maggie and Perloff just straight up show emergency today. I mean, we were a half a tick away.
What happened?
Want to tell people what happened?
Oh, that I left my wallet in an Uber? Not really.
Well, but there was maybe 5 to 10 minutes where the show was teetering. Like, it was dicey there for a second.
It 1,000% was not. The guy was a half a block away. He said he didn't see my text. I never thought, I knew exactly where I left it. I had my sandwich and my wallet.
Yeah.
I put my wallet down. Was there any fear that I wasn't going to get my wallet back? Because I had none.
Okay, when you walked in, and I thought, you walked in today, and I thought you already had the wallet. And I was like, let's do this for social media. You're like, absolutely not. Turn off the camera. I don't want to do this. And I was like, wait, why? You got it back, right? You're like, I didn't get it back. And we were teetering there for a moment on pure panic.
So it took 14 minutes old. No, wait, by the way, I'm glad you didn't tell me this because I told Mike and he's like, oh yeah, you'll get it back any second.
I thought you were too, but I don't think you thought you were going to get it back. I thought you were panicking.
I knew I was going to get it back because I don't think the average person who sits in the back of an Uber is going to take that wallet. Because
I mean, you're thinking very highly of humanity there.
I think that I don't think it's highly of humanity. I mean, it'll be obvious that they are the ones who took it because it was the next ride. There's only possible that there was one more ride. So that person took it? I guess
never take things for granted like that.
Oh, I didn't. It's funny. I did not panic that I was going to lose it.
You did not want to do a social media video about it. Not in that moment.
Well, I didn't really want to jinx it. But
like what, the Jets' Super Bowl chances? 855-212-4CBS. But you got the wallet back.
Yes, I did. So let me explain something to you that's a little different. Okay. The Jets hype and the Bills hype from last year. Bills were hyped last year. Would you agree with that?
Preseason Super Bowl favorite, preseason Josh Allen MVP. Right. Neither of which came true, by the way.
Right. But they were number one in Vegas odds for the Super Bowl, where the Jets are 7th. I think that kind of hype, there was on-field hype. What I'm saying about the Jets is this hype is not commensurate with on-field.
Well,
because they're such a young team, and they have a new quarterback, and they're all learning this new system, that I feel like there's something else behind this hype besides just football. Like, that was pure football hype for the Bills. I don't think there was any personalities. I think it's Rodgers doing all this media through the years, and the Jets, and being on Hard Knock. I just think there's a Jetsian quality about this buzz right now that is annoying me.
Well, okay. I get that. I understand it. I guess the one thing about it is the Jets won 7 games last year and did that with 4 different quarterbacks starting, none of whom, besides Joe Flacco, who's at the end of his career, none of those have any acclaim whatsoever. You know, like...
Oh, yeah, that's a nice way of putting it.
Right.
Yeah, they were terrible.
Kind here, yeah. Zach Wilson might be the worst player ever. You know, Flacco's way past his prime. Mike White is I guess a high-end backup, and Chris Streveler can't actually throw the ball. He can only just run with the ball. So you know exactly what's going to happen. And they still won 7 games.
Right, but didn't they win those all early?
It is football hype.
No, I don't think so. I mean, last year, did they start out like 6-6 when Flacco was still basically alive, and then they lost their last 8 games? And then
they fell apart. But there was like the defense is legit, so there is a football aspect to this of why people like them.
Yeah, I mean they lost 7 of the...
won defensive rookie of the year, and Garrett Wilson won offensive rookie of the year. There is a football. If it was just personalities, it wouldn't live up.
If he had gone to Tampa Bay, it would be a much different feel. Or if he had gone to a different market. I think there's some New York hype going on here, which makes sense. I mean, it's a huge market.
That's why Rodgers, part of the reason I think why he was so open to this. Also, I don't know who else was bidding for him.
Right. I just think that again, I think the rest of the country is going to find annoying. I think after Hard Knocks, people do not want to see the same guy over and over again. Eventually, they will turn on him. Right now, they're into Rodgers, but I think there's going to be a feeling of celebration if they struggle, which they might not, but their schedule starts off so hard.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I'm getting at. Like, what if they're 3-3 or 2-4? It's going to be this all hands on deck, what went wrong in New York, and that's not fair at all.
Well, there's also, it's a lot of primetime games.